Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly meditation town hall. Nice to see you all. And for those of you in the Midwest, hope you have your long underwear on because I understand it's very brutally cold out there. Still colder here in North Carolina, even though we don't get snow, so that's good. I'd like to start with a couple of announcements to start us off this morning. We have our residential retreat coming up in March when the weather will be warmer, and it's always a beautiful time of year, so I hope that you can join us for that. And then we have next Saturday, we have our next master class, and if you go to the chat, all of the information is in there and you can sign up. So I will turn it over to someone who is in the Midwest and freezing. Nathan's going to be leading us today. And thank you, Nathan, for being here, and welcome, everyone. It's nice to see you all.
Thanks, Menla. Good to see you all. It's -7 is what my computer temp says here. So we're not quite going to make it to 0 today. So we're working in minus temps, but that's okay. You know, we're a little over a week removed from Lama's one-day retreat, which I know a lot of you were able to make it to, and some weren't. The theme of that meditation retreat, among other things, was really being Buddha 24/7. So, 24 hours a day in 2024. And then it's like, well, that sounds good, but how? And so there was a lot on how to do it. And it was a great retreat, and I'll share some, reflections and some high points I took away from that. But I always like to, revisit what it is exactly I think I'm doing with various things, including my practice, and why I think I'm doing it, and what I, think the benefits are. And, one thing I really appreciate about this particular path and these teachings is they really do translate 24 hours a day. They translate into, the real world, the relative world. We do sort of have this view from above that everything's, maybe as it should be. But also this idea that in the relative sense, everything we do and say matters. And so the instructions are really built for that. And I find it really works, these instructions. And one of the main reasons I know it works is I went to the retreat last week and the Chiefs won last night. So obviously, boom, it works. So what more proof do I need than that? But of course I'm kidding, but some part of me actually thinks that, right? Or that I have some influence on the game. Maybe not that was it, but as I'm watching, I think if I, do the right things, the game will go well. And conversely, if it goes poorly, I'm being punished somehow, but maybe I am. So it was a great retreat though, and a reminder though that these this advice that comes down to us, going back thousands of years through the Lama and the Lama's teachers and many others that have gotten us to this stage, really makes a practical difference and gives us the opportunity to get out of our usual habits and kind of our reactionary way of dealing with things, and sort of letting the ego be in the driver's seat and responding from maybe more of an egoic place. Not that the goal is really to get rid of the ego or, kill the ego or something like that, but more to give us the opportunity to push pause and consider how and if we want to react. And these practices, this advice we get, really does carry forward into all of the things that we run into throughout the day. Not just these hours we set aside on Sunday or whenever we do our formal meditation. I've been a lot busier lately than I am at other times, and so it kind of is disruptive to my usual schedule of here's my formal practice. And I have a tendency to get a little bent out of shape about that, of I'm not practicing enough or I'm not spending enough time on this. And the retreat was such a good reminder that it's all it, right? All of the day, all the things we run into is a chance to really put into practice these things that we've learned and studied, and to kind of utilize the resources that we've created for ourselves through practice and through meditation. And so to kind of get out of this it's either a spiritual practice or it's this sort of distraction from spiritual practice to really make it all it. And so that was, one of the big takeaways that I had from the retreat and have been reflecting on this week, and seeing where, I often still kind of try to split these things up. And another thing Lama talked about was really authenticity, and, living authentically and being authentically ourselves, whatever that, might mean or look like for each of us. But, part of that authenticity got into, he was talking about, different ways of phrasing this, but sort of, what if what we had, just this, was enough? Just this moment is enough. Getting here together with this whole group virtually, just pretty awesome, especially when it's -7 out, not having to go anywhere. It's pretty good resource. What if what we have right now is enough? What if we are enough right now? And seeing if we can let go of maybe the need to constantly try to transform or improve or, figure something out, and just really being authentically, just however we are, however we find ourselves right now, just really recognizing everything that we're experiencing. And, really this ability to recognize what's going on is always available. And, that's sort of what we practice in these meditations of, we'll say some prayers and get into a meditation here very shortly. But, just kind of letting it go, letting it be, checking out what's there. And it's nice to have these more formal meditation times where we can really kind of dig a little bit deeper and maybe sink down and give a chance for things to settle. But when things are unsettled, we still have that opportunity. We can still bring awareness to whatever is going on, even if it's very active with a lot of movement, a lot of thoughts, a lot of, action. Just kind of passing along a couple of the themes that, Lama had, many of you were there, that really stuck out to me, and I've been reflecting on over this week, in the hopes that some of that is useful here, and also hopefully we see how it kind of fits into this, meditation we're getting ready for here. But without further ado, let's say some prayers and get rolling here. Sanje chodang soki choknam la jangchu badu dakni kapsu chi daki jinso gipe sonam ki drola penshir sanje drupar sho. In Buddha, Dharma, and supreme spiritual community, we go for refuge until fully enlightened, by the power of all six perfections, from generosity to non-dual wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize Buddhahood. Hung or jen yul jinup jang sam, pe ma ge sa dong po la, yatsen chogi no drub ne, pe ma june jesu drak, kodu kandro mang po kor, keki jesu dak drup ki, jinji lap shir shek su so, guru pe mai siddhi hung. Om ahung benza 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 guru pe mai siddhi hung. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pe Mai Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pe Mai Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pe Mai Siddhi Hum. All right, find a comfortable position to be in. Comfortable seat. Feel free to move around, grab a drink. Settle in for a long winter's meditation here. Just taking some time to settle, arrive, allowing things to settle. We don't need to force any kind of calm or stillness. Just taking some time to notice what's going on in our experience, maybe what's going on around us. Seeing what there is to see, hearing what there is to hear. And bringing some awareness to our body, physical sensations. Whatever part of our body we have that's in contact with the ground, noticing what that feels like. Physical feeling of being supported, whatever's keeping us upright, or if we're laying down, that's fine too, whatever's holding us. Just taking notice, natural body. So just sitting. No need to sit any special way, not any need to have any specific physical experience. Just natural. But paying attention, really here for it. And bringing awareness to our breath. Sometimes it can be helpful to track a breath or two, to follow it coming in and out. And just recognizing this automatic process will just take care of itself. We don't need to get involved. We just watch it. We don't need to breathe in any special way. Just stay out of the way. The third of the three naturals, natural heart and mind. So whatever's going on in the realm of thoughts, feelings, just bringing awareness to that. We don't need to look at it as something to deal with if we have maybe a lot of thoughts or strong feelings. That's okay. Just bringing awareness to that. It's not any certain thought or feeling we should be having. Whatever is there, just bringing awareness to it. We don't need to generate anything. We don't need to block anything. Just allowing this world of thoughts and feelings to be exactly as it is. But vividly present. Really here, really awake. Accounted for. Recognizing what's here to be recognized. Just experiencing directly. Maybe just allowing ourselves to take a break from the tendency to constantly be thinking about what's next. Now what? What do I do? What do I do with this? At least for right now, we don't have to react. You know, see what comes up. We don't need to jump into labeling or judging or figuring it out, transforming. We don't need to do any of that. We can just recognize what comes up. And just take some time here to just rest in that recognition. Whatever arises, recognize it. Just rest in the recognition of whatever arises. So on the theme, you know, being a Buddha 24/7, being a Bodhisattva all the time, living authentically all the time, however we think about it, however we maybe approach that. You know, at least for me, part of the, you know, path of moving more in that direction is building some comfort, just allowing things to be as they are, allowing ourselves to be how we are, can kind of serve as a little break in between when you get stimulus and reaction and you want to maybe jump in with the usual habits, or the ego rushes to defend. You get these various defense mechanisms to try to respond to whatever comes up. And these times of more formal practice are a good chance to, you know, kind of build some comfort. Just seeing if we can't just let things be, and see what happens when we just leave it all alone and we stop stirring and shaking, we stop responding. And so whatever arises, just recognizing it, and maybe just seeing for ourselves if whatever arises, if it's not true, that will just resolve itself in its own way, in its own time, without any effort from us. We can check and see if that is our experience. We don't need to worry if it does linger for a while. We don't have any clock ticking on any of this, just whatever arises, bringing awareness to it. Just some curiosity about our experience without needing to analyze it or fix ourselves or improve ourselves. Just letting ourselves be however we are right now. And whatever comes up on our experience, just letting that be, allowing things to be how they are, surrendering to how things are, however we think about it. Reading a lot of stuff on New Year's resolutions, and I guess quit day came pretty recently where most people quit, but maybe today we'll be quitters. We're going to quit doing stuff. Take a break from reacting. Just be. And if you'd like, join me in a reset, a refresh, shift around, begin again. Grab a drink if you need to, want to, stretch. Taking it easy on this Sunday. Always very much interested in the how of things. So, when we have retreats on these themes, like being a Buddha 24 hours a day, I'm always glad when we get to the how do we do that? What next? It sounds good to me. How do I do that? One of the, Dzogchen instructions that comes up is to break things up. Even in these more formal sessions, to chunk the practice down. It's kind of a nice chance to begin again fresh. And kind of a reminder that really any moment is an opportunity to begin again fresh, or just to maintain a fresh perspective from moment to moment. Starting new, not starting as if we already have all the answers or we already know what the outcome is going to be. Just checking in again, seeing what's there right now. It's a new moment, a new experience. It's not static, it's always changing. And the natural meditation instructions are pretty simple. It's just sitting, just breathing, just being. So we don't need to sit any special way, we don't need to breathe any special way, and we don't need to be any special way. The fine print is just aware of all of that, or recognizing what's going on, really present. And so if we get distracted and we feel like we're not very present, that's okay. Just come back, start from there. And we just do that over and over again. So we can break it up into many, many, mini meditations. I like simple instructions. It gives me a higher chance of not completely botching it, but of course we're often not quite as simple as the instructions. So the just sitting and the just being and just breathing, we tend to add a lot more than the just doing that. So this is just a chance to see how simple and authentic and natural we can be, how much we can let go of the need to complicate things, or constantly kind of leaning forward or looking backward. Just giving that up, just allowing whatever arises to arise. Simplifying things. And although we're very present, restful. We don't need to be real effortful, straining to do this. It can be just very free and at ease. Relaxed, allow ourselves to relax. Just keeping it fresh, keeping ourselves present. We need to be perfectly still. It's okay if we drift away and lose focus, forget what we're doing here. But just coming back, start fresh, keeping kind of the beginner's mind going, as if we don't have all the answers. We don't need to have all the answers. We don't need to figure anything out. We don't need to achieve anything. We don't need to worry about doing it the right way. We can't miss just being here. That's all we need to do. Staying present to whatever arises. Whatever comes up in our experience is fine, just bringing awareness to it. But sometimes as we've settled, one of the experiences we might have is maybe a sense of stillness or calm or spaciousness. So bring awareness to that. We're also probably aware that as we sense into this spaciousness and stillness and calm, there's also movement, thoughts, feelings, physical movement, sounds, activity, however we want to think about it, that arises. Also just bringing awareness to that. And we don't have to pick favorites between movement and stillness, between spaciousness and activity. It's not a separate. These are not separate things. They're just different, descriptors of various experiences. But it's all part of an experience we can take in. The goal isn't to try to be as still as possible or to limit movement as much as possible, but just to recognize whatever arises. Even maybe a tendency to have some favorites, some preferred things we'd rather arise. Maybe we prefer a great state of calm to a state of agitated thinking. But whatever it is, regardless of preference, we can just bring awareness to that and just let it be. And we can even bring awareness to awareness itself. Aware that we're aware. Aware of that which can recognize both the movement and the stillness. And itself. And recognizing this, we just rest in that recognition. And if you'd like, join me in another restart, another refresh. Shift around, stretch. Take a few deep breaths, get a drink, whatever. And tuning into what's going on right now. Just sitting, you just sit any special way, just breathing, just being, whatever's going on, in the realm of thoughts and feelings, just letting that be, letting those thoughts and feelings come and go. So sort of recognizing what's going on in my own experience today. I'm reminded of sometimes when Lama Roger leads, he says something to the effect that a lot of our suffering is secondary. So we maybe feel fear, and so we're afraid of feeling afraid, or we have thoughts pop up and we start thinking about our thinking, and we sort of pile on. And at least in my experience, that first thing that pops up, I'm not sure I have a ton of control or agency over that. These things just seem to pop up. How do we react? I think is where we have probably a little more choice and agency. When we recognize things right as they arise, we have some choice. And that doesn't mean we won't still have kind of a, reflex of wanting things to be different than they are. I think that's a pretty common reaction to things, and so much of our experience is so relative and depends on our view. I've got one of my two cats sleeping right above me right now, and every time I hear him shift, I'm worried he's going to roll off the edge and land on me. I was teaching a class in this very seat, and it happened to me once, in the middle of talking, and a cat landed on my head, which my students were very amused with. But so some part of me is maybe wishing I wasn't distracted by this movement. But from another perspective, it's kind of cool to have my cat right here with me. I like having him sleeping right by me and having present. But also, regardless of whether I am wanting this experience or not, I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, right? There's some movement around. I'm here. So try to just take it all in. And I don't really need to make a decision. I don't need to render a verdict on, is it good or bad that he's here, right? Just kind of let it be. Let it go. So just settling in. Whatever's going on in our experience. It's great to do these things virtually, but I'm sure you all face a variety of things that you might label as distractions, things going on, car noise outside, house creaking, who knows what. Our furry friends, feathered friends. Just experiencing that directly. And even if we do have reactions to that of feeling grateful about what arises or feeling like we want it to be different, just recognizing that. We just need to keep following whatever cycle gets started. We don't have to. We can just let it be and let everything resolve itself in its own way in its own time. Just over and over, moment after moment, just recognizing what's there, leaving it as it is. And as we start to get a little closer to the end of this time we've set aside to practice, sometimes it can be helpful to sort of set the stage for post-meditation, also known as the rest of our life after we're done meditating. And, to kind of begin or end where I began, in the Lama's retreat, really focusing on, putting our practice to good use, really being a Buddha, a Bodhisattva, being authentic, all day, every day. It's worth kind of reflecting on some of the instructions and maybe seeing that they're not really exclusive to meditation. Certainly in the regular world, often we have to react a little more quickly. If you're driving and somebody cuts you off, that'd be a good time to react and not just take it all in. But just recognizing whatever arises. We don't need to be sitting any special way, eyes open, eyes closed, breathing in any way, surrounded by people, alone. None of those factors really influence that capacity to just recognize things as they arise, and to start to loosen the grip that the ego has on driving the car all the time, and these habitual responses that we have, these knee-jerk reactions, this immediate one thing happens and it triggers a bunch of other things, that we have the ability to just let it be, to give it some space and some time, and then maybe choose a different path on how we react, or if we want to react at all. And just getting more comfortable leaving things as they are, and taking a break from, kind of constantly needing to prop up this identity we create, and that we spend a lot of effort just kind of propping up, and then something happens and it starts to slip, and so we try to prop it back up. We can just kind of take a break from that. We can see that, recognize that that's there. We don't need to tear it all down necessarily. We can just really be aware of it, and then really decide if it's really the most skillful thing to keep propping it up, or if we can let certain aspects of that just drop and just be free and at ease. And so I'm so thankful for this path, and for Lama Surya capturing these teachings and bringing them to us and explaining them in a way that makes sense to somebody like me who had, in some ways there's no good reason for me to ever have been exposed to any of this. Just sort of by, random chance and other things, but it found its way to me in a way that makes sense. And the thing that I'm, maybe one of the things I'm most grateful for about this path is it really does work all day. So it's not just for this hour you get some relief and, get to some level of, like a bearable experience, but, it helps keep every moment fresh and dynamic, and helps put me in a position to be more likely to be skillful than I would be otherwise, which certainly doesn't mean I'm getting it right all the time, but it's certainly helpful. And so I'm very grateful for all of you. So with that, why don't we dedicate the merits of our practice to the benefit of all? Gewa di no du dak, zogpa chenpo drub jerne, drowa chi kyang malupa, dei sala gopar sho. Through this virtue, may we swiftly realize and fully embody the natural great perfection, and thereby bring all without exception to its complete realization. Jongchup Senchok Rinpoche, Makye Panam Ke Gyur Chik, Ke Par Nempar Me Pa Yong, Gone Gondu Pelwar Sho. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably, until all are illumined and awakened. Through the merit of this, may the light of the Buddha's precious teaching remain for ages to come, the ground for every single kind of benefit and happiness. May all the supreme holders of the teachings, who uphold its living truth, accept to live for aeons and their lotus feet stand firm. And so may the sun of altruism and well-being in all its blazing splendor shine the brilliant light of the study and practice of Buddha Dharma throughout every corner of the universe. May all beings everywhere, with whom we are inseparably interconnected, and who want and need the same as we do, may they be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, safe, and free. May there be peace and harmony in this world, and an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, pandemics, famine, droughts, earthquakes, all kinds of natural disasters. May all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. May we better prepare ourselves for the natural calamities that beset us all, and may we all together complete the spiritual journey, one beloved community, one circle, one family, all the way home. And I bow to all of you Buddhas. Thank you so much for your practice, for being here. So nice to see everyone.
Thank you, Nathan, for that. I appreciate it. And I think you brought up some good points or reminders to us as we start the new year to just let it be and try to simplify things. I think that's a good message. So if you've looked in the chat, I have all the things in there about membership and donations and our upcoming events. Remember, next Saturday is our next masterclass. You don't have to have signed up for the whole thing. You can sign up for individual classes. So we hope to see you there next Saturday. And of course, we'll be back here next Sunday. So Nathan, you're getting some love in the chat. So
thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, everyone, and see you soon.